Dear parents, in fact, when we look at today, it is so unprecedented an experience for all of us. This prolonged lockdown, now almost we are reaching 1 month, and due to coronavirus, the entire world is suffering. We have to face these difficulties, even not to having classes for our children. No school is having classes. We don't know how long it will prolong, because unless and until there is a vaccine found, this can continue for a long time. So we need to look at alternatives, etc. So many of our schools have started already online classes. But remember, online classes are possible only for the people who have the accessibility to access to computer, internet, etc. Anyway, we have to find new ways and new methods to educate our children, and that's what we are all doing. Now, I am here because to tell you that this is an opportunity for all of you to give your child your best, because after all, family is the best school. I believe it so. And because in the family, whatever happens, that is the happening of your formation of your children. So therefore, today I will be just briefly explaining to you about the 8 stages of every human being by the famous educational psychologist called Erik Erikson. Erik Erikson says all of us, every individual has to go through 8 stages of life. So the first stage he calls as an oral stage, that is 0 to 1.5 years age, or 0 to 1 year of age. Now what happens in this period to a child? 0 to 1 year. 0 means the child who is in the womb, and whatever experience the mother undergoes or the family feels, exactly that the child also absorbs. So the child in the womb is very, very important period for the child's formation. And after that also 1 year. He calls it oral stage because anything you give to the child in this period, the child will take to the mouth. All of us know this. And that's why he calls easily, the term is called oral stage or infancy stage. And in this period, the child expects a lot of love, concern, care from you. Take the child, hold them so close to you. Let the child feel the warmth of your love. In the family must make that experience to the child. Then the child will grow in trust. Otherwise, the child will grow in mistrust. It will not trust anyone when it becomes mature. So that is why this period is very, very important in the life of a child. Then he says, the second period he calls it age 1 to 3. This period he calls it what he calls the toilet training period. This period, early childhood period, the child will stand walking and so on. It does not have control over its own bodily functioning. For example, number 1 and number 2, etc. It doesn't have the control. So it feels and it does. Now suppose you make the child feels bad about it, then the child will grow in shame and doubt. So that is why the family experiences are very, very important for a child. So if it grows shame and doubt, if it's not properly given the help. Otherwise, the child will grow in autonomy. Autonomy means it will stand on its leg. It knows what is right, what is wrong, when to do, when not to do, etc. That feeling will come to the child. That's a very, very important for us to give and create that kind of an atmosphere. And the third stage, he says, it's a play age. He calls it 3 to 6 years. And I know in India or in the world over, this period may not be a play age now, because children at home, they go for tuition, the school, they are placed in the schools or Anganwadis, and so all kinds of things are happening. Too much of pressure is put on the children today because of the societal pressure, etc. But then if you don't allow the child to play age, to ask questions, to play, and suppose Papa, what is this? Mummy, what is this? Etc. If you don't give an answer for the frequent queries of the children will grow in guilt feeling. Suppose you make the child shut up. Don't ask questions. Keep quiet. Suppose you say like this, that the child will grow in guilt feeling. When the child grows, the child will not be able to ask questions even in the classrooms or with others and so on. There is no critical mind developed in the child. That is why it is very important. Don't give them guilt feeling. Give them positive atmosphere. They are not worried about your the correctness of your answer, etc. But they will go on asking you questions. You give them the answers, then the child will grow in initiative. Such children will be the leading children in the classrooms and outside. They will grow with leadership qualities. They will take initiative in whatever they do. And there is the fourth stage. He calls it school age. Maybe he in his categorization he says 5 to 12 years of age. That is called school age, early school age. And this period the children will be playing. They will be meeting their own friends circle, and lot of take and give will go on. Suppose you don't allow that period to be little more freely for the children, then the children will grow in inferiority. They will say that no, हम किसी से कम हैं, ऐसा feeling मत देना. We don't give such feelings to the children. Let them grow in industry, hard working. They have to experience in fact difficulties, risk taking, etc. Let them grow in that freedom. That is why the parents must be very, very careful in this period. And the next is called adolescence period. He calls it 9 to 18 years of age. This period, the children, the psychology of adulthood or adolescence period, that they are actually the time of adolescence is a time of tension, crisis. And it's a lot of stress will be there in the children because of the physical changes that are happening, also intellectual growth that are taking place, and the spiritual growth taking place, etc. The children will grow in a lot of confusion. And if you don't allow the children to grow, if you control them too much, then they may rebel against you. Teenage period is a time of confusion, I told you, role confusion especially. That time children may react to you if you put too much of control. That may lead them to antisocial elements also later on when they grow, because there is a psychology, they say the anger is transferred towards the lower level. Suppose the child is frightened of you or frightened of parents, then they may take that anger, accumulated anger, towards somebody else who is weaker than them in the school. That is why this role confusion must be understood. You must treat them friendly and so on. And if you treat them well, then they will grow in identity. I am also a grown-up person. I am also growing up. I have to learn. I also have an identity, an individuality positively. They will grow in that level. So adolescence period, if anybody, you who have children at home like this, a girl or a boy, please treat them friendly, with guidance, listen to them, and respect their individuality. Otherwise they will rebel against you, mind you. The next period, I am not going to explain the next three periods, the stages of life. That is the early parenthood period. He says it is around the age of 18 to 40 perhaps. This period, a lot of intimacy. People come out of their own groups to outside and external relationship, etc. People want to get into clubs and activities, groups, friendliness, friendship, etc. And this period, if you don't allow this to grow, then they will grow in isolation, which is very, very negative. Social what do we call it, distancing, what do we call today, complete distancing will be there. They will not be able to come out with their own ideas and initiatives and discussions and contribution, etc. So isolation may happen, or they will grow in intimacy. Yes, I can relate with you, I am friendly with you, that and I contribute my best because I have a confidence inbuilt in me. That is why that period is very, very important. And then the next is, many of you may be in that period, that is around 35 to 65 years of age. This is called, he calls it real adulthood, middle age period. This period is the time of contribution, because you are already immature, you have a lot of life experience, etc. So your experience matters in your decision making, etc. Suppose you are not allowed to make a decision at all. in this period, then you will go in complete stagnation. There is no enthusiasm in life, there is nothing to contribute. You will grow in stagnation, otherwise you will be a creative person. And finally, the old age period, that is above 60 and above, those people, he calls them is mature age. At that time, suppose you are the 7 periods which I said, 7 stages which I said, if you have a positive experience of the 7 stages, then you will grow in integrity. Persons of integrity, people who are accepting themselves, people who are happy, peaceful, calm, serene. Such people are called persons of integrity. Suppose you have got all the areas negativities, or majority of the stages only negative have been the experience, then that person will grow in despair. That, basically psychology will say, basically dissatisfied with yourself, you will make others also dissatisfied. Choice is yours. You want to make your children grow in maturity, to integrity, then utilize this lockdown period at home. Treat them and give them your best. You may not be able to give the best of the world, but give your best and make your family a happy family. Make your children a mature child who is going to contribute to the nation and to the world. Thank you very much.